Gaming seems to have a weird fascination with dystopia, worlds unseen by humanity and conquered by the ever-living growth of nature, or in other cases, something more sinister. Dystopian societies aren't anything new to us and have been witnessed by the eyes of millions all across media. Movies such as The Stalker show us an early glimpse into these depressing worlds of fiction, and I'm sure we've all heard of The Last of Us. For whatever reason it may be, I am fascinated by dystopia. The idea that humanity isn't an uprising dominant force, but is instead decimated by the hands of something or someone more powerful than we could ever anticipate. And this is the reason I love Stray. For those not aware, Stray is a puzzle platforming adventure game released for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation back in 2022. The game received outstanding reviews on launch and seems to have become a modern indie classic thanks to its rich storytelling, gorgeous visuals, and engaging gameplay. Yet I never played Stray until March, despite it being sat in my library for over a year. But at last though, I got round to playing it and I immediately knew it was worth a video. And so, welcome to the beautiful despair of Stray. Stray begins with you and your feline friends taking shelter for the night before traversing the lush wasteland around you the following day. As you make your way through this abandoned chasm, you reach a dangerous jump between two pipes, which fails you upon making the jump, leading to your sudden and climactic demise as your friends watch in horror, knowing that they are unable to help you. You awaken in a derelict underground system surrounded by heaps of rubbish. You take your time to heal until you notice a large circular door open up just enough for you to pass through. Upon entering, you are greeted by a chaotic sight of the place known as the Dead City. This unfamiliar place is creepy at first. Gloomy fog invades the isolated streets lit only by a handful of light sources. Reflections of the light are visible through small puddles of water which are initially assumed to be rain from the sky. Walking through this, you are greeted with small head crab-like creatures reminiscent of the famous Half-Life enemies. They initially seem afraid of your presence, as if you're some kind of upper being that opposes of their ways. After some puzzle solving involving cans of paint, you witness the sight of what appears to be a robot being devoured by the creatures you've been spotting. As expected, you're startled by its presence and wonder, where are the humans of this dystopian city? The robot reaches out to help, which you try to accommodate for, until he shuts off. Was it those cycloptic beings, or was it something more? Following this encounter, you enter a dimly lit street of red fog and fluorescence, watched by countless yellow eyes. You know something is wrong though, and that fear is immediately shown to be real as these beings begin chasing you through the rundown streets in an attempt to take your life. This chase sequence is our first taste of exhilaration in the story. You truly feel a sense of terrifying danger from these monsters as they leap towards you in flocks of many, feeling like a psychotic family like that of Resident Evil 7. Neon lights shine rapidly during this chase, guiding you to safety. Computer screens turn on in your presence at the flat and give you further directions to help. You hope so. Following some more platforming through these derelict rooftops and balconies, you reach the flat itself. This is the first part of this foreign world where you truly feel safe. The warm lighting mixed with the stacks of books and a carpet to scratch at gives you room to breathe and process the horror you've just been put through. But we don't have time to mess around. Someone needs us. We type to the best of our ability on the keyboard in the room and are told that a body is required. We're then told three things. Enter the door, turn on, find a body. A door opens and we're greeted to a ruined laboratory. Upon finding and connecting 4 metallic blocks to the underneath of this mega computer, a bookshelf reveals a back room containing a dilapidated white pod hooked up to a deceased robot that seems to imitate human form. You knock over a box and discover a small droid. Placing it on the table activates it, and this AI thanks you for freeing it. You discover that this is the one who has been watching you and guiding you up to this point. This droid can't remember its name as it's been trapped in the network for so long that it's lost its memory. He refers to himself as B12 and tells us that they worked for a scientist at one point, and it's now our job to find out who they are. After trying on your new clothes, which you take an immediate disliking to, we take a makeshift zipline across a great chasm of destruction and view a mural. The outside. B12 recognizes it, promising someone that they would go there. We just don't know who. And more importantly, we don't know what the outside truly is. Upon reaching a tiny opening in the wall, we see a creature sweeping the floor in the distance. At last we have our first human. Except, this is no human. Rather another robot who this time is deathly afraid of you. Sirens blare through this sudden area of life, fellow robots run to safety out of fear, just like you had done not long ago. As you come face to face with one brave soul, you reveal your friendly nature and all of the robots come out of their shelter. Welcome to the slums. The slums are on the lower level of the city, paralleling with humanity and the divide between social statuses and class. You're told the elevator you stand beneath isn't operational and so no one can escape this zone. They're trapped between a jaw-dropping gap to the higher level and a city infested with one-eyed evils. According to The Guardian, only the outsiders believe you can escape this place, and so we meet Momo, the last remaining robot of this group. He tells you about his long-lost friends who all escaped the zone and never returned. He gives you his outsider's notebook, which leads you to find the rest of them, once owned by Doc, Balthazar and Clementine. Once retrieving these books and giving them to Momo, you both find out that his transceiver he's been hopelessly trying to fix for an unknown length of time can actually be fixed. You're directed to a tower located in the middle of the red ruins of the abandoned city. We must install the newly fixed transceiver at the peak in an effort to make any form of contact with the rest of the city. We're the only ones swift enough to evade these monsters, now known to us as Zurks, which we'll learn more about later in this video. The journey to the top of the tower is treacherous, containing mountains of Zurks separated by complex construction work dividing the floors of danger. You engage in a survival sequence as you await your ride to reach your level, soon taking you up to the peak and letting you power the transceiver. The view from this rooftop is both magical and disturbing, as it's your first time you are able to fully see the scale of the wall that separates the population. I remember now. The city. It was meant to be a shelter. Those look like stars, but they're only lights marking the hermetic roof sealing off the city. Humankind built this shell to protect themselves from the outside, but it came at a cost. Nobody can get out. The outside was a disaster, completely barren, unlivable, and dangerous. This place, this city of misery you've been exploring, is secretly a prison. These robots don't believe in the existence of the outside because they come from this city. This dead city. The dead city that you now must open. Upon making your return to the slums, you meet Momo at the local bar that perfectly mimics the essence of a real-life one. The moody lighting bouncing off the wearing walls, robots hunched over the side of the bar despite seemingly not having the human functions required to get drunk, unless they're like Bender or something. The upstairs pool table and booths also add a real sense of immersion that tell you that these robots are truly mimicking the long-forgotten remains of humanity in this city. After some random programming, you're greeted by none other than the fellow outsider Balthazar. He informs you of a way to reach the next level of the city by going through the dangerous sewer system that is infested with Zurks. We don't know how he survived, but he did, and now you must too. Following this discovery, you speak with Doc's son Seamus, who is forever grieving with the loss of his father in this cold, barren space. Despite his initial no-bullshit persona, by showing him Doc's notebook, some hope arrives on his monitor. After some cleverly hidden numbers that reveal the password to this secret lab, you enter to discover countless blueprints made of a potential number of solutions to wipe out the Zurks. A newspaper on the table indicates to us the rapid transformation these Zurks took over time, going from consuming just flesh to now even metal. It's as if these creatures evolved into the apex predator of the city, and now attacks anything it sees as soulful. You find the tracker needed to communicate further with the rest of the city, and get it repaired by the brains of the slums, Elliot. Once he returns to Seamus, he follows the path of the tracker which leads to a sealed, vault-like door that takes us to what the game titles the Dead End. A memory located at the beginning of this area tells us that the wall to divide the city is intended to do just that, divide. V12 tells us that people from the higher side of the city kept throwing their rubbish down to the more poverty-stricken area of this foreclosed construction, a haunting reminder that the upper class feels superior to those down below. Following another intense chase sequence and a nasty fall into more dilapidated ruins, you finally reach Doc, who has been camping out in this Zerk-infested area with absolutely no hope of leaving, until you show up. By using a fuse to power the generator just outside the home, you finally witness his weapon come to life. He mounts the weapon, known as the Defluxer, onto B12 to provide a resourceful way of using it, albeit now with a limited use time as B12 is too small to withstand the power for very long. Using the Defluxer to save Doc, you both return to the slums and witness a powerful moment in which father and son are once again together. This moment is powerful, not only thanks to the overall presentation of it, but also because it is one of the first moments of true human resemblance. These robots are evidently evolved from what they once were, and are capable of showing true emotion and, more importantly, capable of understanding the importance of family. Their embrace is short-lived, however, as we now must follow Momo into the darkness of the sewers. The sewers are a haunting zone. Dim lights illuminate the disrepaired system broken up by a river of murky water. The vast emptiness feels foreign to the player, as this isn't something you've seen at all so far in the game. But this curiosity is soon overshadowed by the mission. Momo opens the gate for you, and you get immediately overwhelmed with Zerk flesh infesting the walls around you. Hordes of them overrun these abandoned sewers and do whatever they can to kill you. Entering a hidden passageway through one of these pipes takes you to a gargantuan room containing a small waterfall in the distance. Unlocking the memory here teaches you that clean water was scarce for a long time. The city was supplied with machinery capable of digging deep and collecting drinking water, but was rationed out during periods of drought. But clearly this is not something that matters anymore. If there's still water running through the system, what truly happened to the humans of the city? As you delve deeper into the sewers, you're continuously overrun by Zerks, and then after activating the door lock, eyes appear strikingly on the fleshy substance surrounding you. Upon entering and walking through more neglected passageways, you're greeted with this. Another intense chase sequence commences. You desperately sprint to safety with B12's fizzled body in your possession until you finally awaken them, revealing menacing details about his brief period of nothingness. It was dark. I was alone. It felt like I was back in the network. Soon after this, however, some hope is finally shown. This is Antvillage. This whole time throughout your entire adventure together trying to work out who this scientist was, you realise it was him. This moment is both touching and saddening at the same time. His existential dread begins to catch up as he starts to realise that everyone he knew, everyone he cared for and everyone he loved is likely gone. What remains of civilization is the scientist himself, trapped in a body incapable of human relation. It's a powerful monologue to hear. Once you reach the top of the village, a strangely familiar sight is there. The same distorted face seen in the bar in the slums shows up. Balthazar was alive this whole time, albeit not in perfect shape. He gives you information about the whereabouts of the final outsider Clementine, and wishes us luck on the remainder of the journey. He gives us her address before switching off and going back into a meditative state. This chapter acts less like true gameplay and more like a storied checkpoint. Since the start of the game, this is the only time you are really truly safe. No enemy can emerge in this uplifting and vibrant village, and this environmental shift complements the story progression to perfection. But you don't have time to waste. It's time to enter the place you've been reaching for the whole adventure. You enter another dark sewer system before finally emerging in another rundown area. In contrast to the slums though, there is instantly a more modern feel to this station. A brightly lit screen on the outside casts an elegant reflection onto the messy flooring of the platform. Red seats line up along the marble-esque walls that trap an immovable subway tube in the middle of it. Even with all the filth and disturbance this place has seen, it doesn't feel poor. And this thought becomes even further evident as you walk through the fence at the top of the stairs, as you witness a drone chasing down a hooded robot in the street. Appearing to be a robber, it gravitated me to the thought that what I was about to see was an area unlike anything leading up to it. And I was right. This is Midtown, the section of the city high above your starting place, acting as the central hub of this underground labyrinth. You're rushed into an overwhelming view of more light on one street than the entirety of the slums. Neon signs and advertising boards consume the much better kept roads. Actual shops where you can buy clothes or food are all given their own space, feeling extremely similar to the crowded hustle and bustle Japan is well known for. More pictures of the outside are plastered everywhere, from cows to trees to just fields. These people feel more connected to the idea of the outside, which, unknowingly to them, is real. As you traverse this fascinating section of the city, you are shown billboards of a robot with some questionable style choices. Upon reading it closely, you realize that the robot in question is Clementine, the very last of the outsiders. The law enforcement in this place is after her for committing reckless actions that they don't seem to like. So, fittingly, you find her address to be boarded up completely, with the only access being through a small hole in the window just large enough for you to crawl through. You show her the picture and her instant aggression becomes quaint. You're shown a wall littered with concepts and planning of her goal to escape. She explains her need for an atomic battery to power the very subway tube you passed through at the start of the chapter, and tasks you with finding a way into Neko Corporation, a business we will discuss soon. You act as a messenger for her and go off to find a robot with a gold chain and a bomber jacket, so essentially a roadman. Upon finding him tucked away reading a newspaper, the robot, questionably named Blazer, tells you his plan to get into the factory, but he needs the right outfit to do so. In true roadman fashion, you steal both a high-vis overall and a builder's hat, and you're snuck in through a Neko Corporation box. He distracts one of the fellow workers, giving you an opening to infiltrate the facility, which is heavily guarded by sentinel droids. After enough sneaking around, you enter the room containing the most important item this city has, the atomic battery. Using some clever puzzle solving that actually blew my mind the first time around, you snatch the battery for yourself and make a dash to Clementine, who isn't there. To avoid the sentinels from discovering her whereabouts, she leaves behind a coded message for you and B12. After decoding it, you're told that she is hiding with Blazer in the local nightclub, which you get into via some drunk guy. To access the VIP area, you hand a strange drink to someone in the club who decided to steal a lever from the DJs for whatever reason. You make an exchange for it and then stand on top of a pillar that gets activated, and I don't really want to go into how long it took for me to work out this part. It's quite embarrassing. You then mess around with the lights which act as platforms for you to get across, before seeing your friend tied up and gagged in the corner. She tries warning you, but it's too late. Blazer has betrayed you both. His greed and desperation for money gets in his head, leading to your capture. After an unknown amount of time, you wake up in a cage dangling from the ceiling, surviving mere meters from a pool of water. You've been locked up and separated from Clementine, trapped in a place you really don't belong. You break out of the cage and soon enter the prison halls themselves, again heavily guarded by droids. Following your exploration, you find Clementine near the exit door, directly facing her only means of escape, which you easily run and get. You set her free and gently make your way through another door, analysing this building of despair. Yet, something is wrong. You're missing something. Or someone. Before making your escape, you witness B12 trapped in a high-tech cell. You and Clementine talk without any subtitles, as B12 is the only thing giving you the ability to understand the robot language, yet you feel like you are instantly on the same page. You're not leaving without him, without the scientist that travelled with you the entire time. Subsequently, you manage to shut down the power to his cell and snatch him away. You continue to make your way through more hallways and the final courtyard, outsmarting some of the droids that lay in your path. Within this dreary and disturbing area, the last unrequired memory is there. It's a terrifying reminder of the stakes in this world. Without any delay though, you activate the lever that opens the opportunity to escape, and quickly get chased down by the killing machines you've been working against. As they aim to hunt you down, a final leap of faith is made. A sacrifice is made. She closes the gate behind you and tells you your mission. This is it. This is your time to leave this hellhole. It's time for the outside. The tube stops after some time. The door opens and you're met with disturbing hope. You carry on up the stairs and are engulfed in a white room void of personality. The control room is your new home, but not one you find comfort in. The faint melodic soundtrack backing your discovery of this place becomes even more deranged when you stare out the window and see a dark void of misery and destruction. A place that feels disgusting in comparison to where you are now. B12 is equally as horrified as the player is too. This explanation regarding the control room matches my first feeling of being unwelcomed when I entered, as well as further cementing the societal food chain that us as a species has created. This is the last memory B12 collects, as you only have one more objective: to open the city. The music quickly turns into a distorted mess of noise and aggression, raised in spirit upon unlocking the system B12 needs to access. He uses all of his power to hack into the system, leaving you with an ending that I cannot describe, but one which I want all of you to watch for yourselves. The fight is over. You did it. The outsiders were right. As the great mechanical door slowly opens over the course of minutes, you're left with fractured peace. You accomplished your goal, yeah, but at the cost of how many lives in the process? The feeling of success becomes closer to a feeling of unsatisfaction. When you head to the red gate, it opens to reveal a lush greenery. There isn't any flesh consuming these walls, but rather nature that has taken over the planet. Birds chirp as you embrace the warmth of the sky, and you're left with a gleaming sense of hope. Stray wouldn't be what it is though without its perfected environment and attention to detail. As you've probably already noticed in this video, Stray's world is nothing short of incredible, in the worst possible way. Everything in this world looks beautifully miserable. Everywhere looks bleak yet hopeful. The juxtaposition of bright neon signs and the desolated, consumed streets of the slums creates a fascinating environment that I don't think another game in recent memory has ever been able to recreate to this level of detail. This paired with the sinister height of the elevator wall and gloomy sky really adds to the depressed atmosphere the game nailed so well. The lack of difficulty in engaging controls is completely overshadowed by the dazzling cityscape you walk through. The environment in this game is able to tell a story the robots can't. Stray contains no actual dialogue, and so it uses the world itself to tell its narrative. There's an increasing feeling of stress as you go from the rooftops and decimated roadways to the unnerving metropolis near the surface. There's a perfect balance between feeling alienated by the things around you to you feeling like this city was built just for you. Built for this journey. Thanks to the added inclusion of a zoom in function, I managed to take some of the most gorgeous video game shots I've ever done. This zoom allowed me to feel even closer to this already secluded world, as well as giving me insight into some of the hidden lore located across the city. It's confusing seeing such a rich plant life to be so overgrown in a city void of light, but this is thanks to Encore, who you heard mentioned previously in the Midtown portion of this video. This is one of the many good things they did to help the morale of the city, creating plants that could still grow despite being artificial. Robots don't need the oxygen these plants produce, but their undying admiration for those who once ruled here is what's led to these plants still growing. However, Nxcturnal did something much worse. Something that destroyed the last hope of civilization as we knew it. Just take a listen. This is one of the few insights we get about the Zergs, and it creates a devastating picture of what must have happened during the last days of humanity. What I find to be the most engaging aspect of Stray are the hidden memories you can find throughout the city. The main story contains 5 unavoidable ones that give you the most significant context, but take these away and you still have 22 more to find. Like the environment, these memories are structured in a way that perfectly reflects the chapter you're in, and these memories are not only exciting to find, but also deeply saddening. The second memory you can find is from a long gone robot resting beside its luggage. You can tell they have been here for a while now. BOTW explains how robots imitated human desperation to escape the poverty-stricken slums, and were prepared to do anything in the name of survival. This one didn't make it. Mimicry is further emphasized by the discovery of ramen noodles above the local bar. These robots don't even have digestive systems, nor do they need alcohol to feel anything, or maybe evolution changed that. How long have these humans truly been gone for? Oppression appears to be strong in the Dead Zone, just like it is for humans in the more destructive parts of our real world. During your journey to the Tower of the Slums, a hard-to-miss neon sign flickers in a pile of rubbish. B12 says, there are also more laughable ones out there. Robot Banksy's detailed artwork deep into an alley, the Half-Life 2 reference about a game titled Back Home 2, as well as the barbershop in Midtown. But despite these sparks of joy, it's always phrased in past tense, just to remind you once more that in this world, the top of the food chain has already been consumed. Yet, the oppressors have now been replaced with the robots themselves. Referring back to the jail sequence, the robot laying on the floor isn't just resting, they're completely wiped from the rest of the world. A meaningless void of binary code is all that's left of this one, but in the places of the city never explored, how many more of those robots are out there? How many have truly been wiped out? We never get revealed that answer, but it's hard to imagine there aren't hundreds wasting away in the long forgotten corners of Midtown. If, or more so when you do decide to play Stray, find all these memories, discover the lies and concealed deception the higher-ups are too afraid to show you. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. This song is one of many that enter your headphones or speakers. They add to the world in ways I really cannot describe. Stray's focus on narrative ambience helps make the entire game a place to simply look at in wonder and fear. This song makes you feel rushed as an endless horde of enemies chase you through the narrow streets. This song makes you feel unwelcomed as the demented church bells ring in the background as you become a part of this new area of the city. This song makes you feel curious as you wander the narrow dystopian hallways of the slums. And sometimes the game simply plays nothing, letting you gaze into the open with an endless amount of questions about what this truly is. This is going a bit off script here, but I truly think the OST of Stray is wonderful. To me, it is completely, utterly perfect. I love Stray for everything it is, and even after spending all this time working on a video about it and slowly sucking the life out of it, it will always remain a game I appreciate forever. It's an example of why you don't need to break the boundaries of gameplay to create such a memorable piece of gaming history. It tells us that we need more focus on the microcosm we stand in, rather than just how we go about exploring it. Stray is a story about finding hope in the darkest of times. It's a metaphor for discovering solitude in the most desperate of situations. The world you uncover is just a fraction of what might be out there. It isn't the full picture, and without the wider context of the planet at our fingertips, we can never truly lose immersion in a world full of mystery. The adventure may be over for now, but one day in the future, another city will be discovered. Another foe will rise, another society will vanish. But what matters most is that we will be there to save it. Thank you to those who have stuck around and watched this entire video. It's important to me that I can inspire others to share their experiences through the creation of these videos, and I hope that this video is one that continues to do just that. For those unaware, I've now opened memberships on the channel. For just £3 a month, you can receive loyalty badges, custom emojis when commenting on my videos or in my live streams whenever I decide to do them, priority reply in the comments so I can instantly view your messages and give you some clout, as well as your name at the end of my videos. For a channel as small as mine, I'm not expecting millions in my bank account, but this revenue will always be appreciated, and I want to make sure I reinvest all of it back into this channel, making it the best it can possibly be for you guys. Thank you all again for the recent support you have given me. I am forever grateful. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.